Due to ongoing investigations, we shall hide their identities.
What was your relationship like with KEMSA?
Well, I think it was after a few inquiries here and there, somebody was asking who has what in the country. Then we happened to have a few items.
And when we say items, what exactly do you mean?
Items that could be used, for example, the coveralls and masks. We had a few of those items that the country needed at that particular time, and there was none in the country. So we were called, do you have this? Yes, we had a few. Could you provide more? Yes, we could.
In April, KEMSA wrote to several companies with reference to tender medical supplies. It says in part, and I quote, "The government of Kenya has set aside funds to undertake emergency procurement of medical commodities in the preparedness of COVID-19. It is intended that part of the proceeds of the funds will be used to cover eligible payments under the contract." It continued, "You are hereby invited to submit a bid as per attached document." Charles Juma signed the letter for the Chief Executive Officer, Jonah Manjari. One company received a letter in April stating, and I quote, "The government of Kenya has identified your organization on a strategic partnership to supply KEMSA with the following items. We have edited out the list, but it continues, quote, you are therefore requested to supply the available quantities for the mentioned commodities to KEMSA Embakasi warehouse immediately in response to the emergency." KEMSA CEO Jonah Manjari signed the letter. The company won the tender for delivery of the medical supplies with agreed timelines. But 1 week later, the same company received a letter terminating the tender. Knowing there was a global demand and pressure on importing the crucial medical supplies, some KEMSA officials took advantage of the situation to cancel and award other preferred companies.
There was an issue. There was even an issue with some of the companies that had been given the leeway to procure on behalf of. There was 1 or 2 companies that were mentioned that we picked out during our committee at that time. We did flag a couple of things and we put our recommendations in the report at that time.
Were they trading on behalf of some powerful individuals, perhaps?
We never got to see who the owners of some of those companies were, but it was clear that how they even got to, to win the tenders, there were question marks. That one we could see. Yeah, and we put them to task at that particular committee sitting. In fact, I don't know why we didn't have media in that particular sitting. It was a heated sitting. And I remember we sat for very many hours because we were hearing from some stakeholders. We had some doctors. And I think we had the pharmacy board as well was represented. We had quite a number of stakeholders on one side who were saying one thing, and KEMSA was saying another thing, and we were able to really dig into that.
In protest, the aggrieved companies wrote to KEMSA regarding the breach of the contractual agreement and sought clarity on the matter. But KEMSA had moved on.
We were given an order, but I think sad part is that after you get the order, it gets cancelled. We know once you cancel an order, it means you're not interested. Yeah, but you can see the need is there. But maybe they're getting elsewhere.